So yesterday we talked about slope-intercept form. We introduced equations of graphs. We talked about the formula itself, or I guess the equation would be y equals mx plus b. Now, if you remember what we talked about yesterday, m looks a lot like k, where it's rate of change, but m is specifically slope when the y-intercept is not 0, like it doesn't cross the origin, where b is your y-intercept. And if you remember that, that's where it's crossing the y-axis if it's something other than 0. Now, let's practice some equations like we did yesterday. If the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is -1, y equals 2x minus 1, where 2 is your slope, so that's what I replaced m with, and -1 is your y-intercept, so I just put -1. If my slope is -3/5, but my y-intercept is +4, I put -3/5 x, and it's +4, I have to remember to put +4, not just 4. You have to put a placer there, so plus or minus. If my slope is -3 and my y-intercept is +2, it would be -3x, and since it's +2, I have to remember to put +2. My fourth one, if my slope is -1 and my y-intercept is +7, I've got -1x, and +7 means +7. Now, where 5 is different, if my y-intercept is 0, that's my indicator that it's going through the origin, which means y equals my slope still, 1/4 x. But because it's going through the origin, it's a lot like y equals kx, which means it doesn't have a number over here. So we don't put +0, we don't put -0, it's just y equals 1/4 x. Now then, number 6, my slope is -5/2 and my y-intercept is -3. My equation would be y equals -5/2 x minus 3. And that's it. Now, if you notice, the difference on today's paper is that the graphs do not have the dots like they were given to me yesterday. We practiced this a little in chapter 5, part 1, where I have to be able to find my own. Now, in order to find my own, I have to look at the graph and notice that there are some times where if you see any sort of gap in the corner, it's not a point. So I have to look at where specifically it's going through the corner. So that would be here at -4. It would be here at -1. And it would be here at +4. You see that? Now, again, I really don't need to find this many points. I just need 2 in order to draw my slope. So from here, I'm going to put my pencil on the highest dot, draw a straight line going down like we did yesterday, and then draw my L to go across. Now I'm going to count my sides of my triangle that I've made. So I have 1, 2, 3 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. Remember, slope is rise over run, so my rise is 3 and my run is 4. I cannot simplify 3 and 4, so I just keep it 3 over 4. We're not going to divide. I have to look at which way my arrow's going, so since it's going downward, it's -3/4. And then if you remember from yesterday, the y-intercept, this is where it's crossing the y-axis. And notice where it's crossing the y-axis is this point right here. And so it's crossing the y-axis at, if I look at the center 0, it's below that, which makes it negative, by 1, so it would be -1. It's also given to me by the point, like they actually gave me numbers there to help me out. So my equation would be y equals -3/4 x minus 1, just like yesterday. Number 8. Again, I have to be able to find my own points here. I can't just be expected to be given them. So this one has a ton at -2, at -1, at 0, at 1, at 2, at 3, at 4, at 5, at 6. And so then that's just a lot of points, right? So here's the beauty of it, is it does not matter which 2 dots that I use. So for instance, if I draw my L from here to here, okay, and again, this is just an example, I can count my rise and run. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my run would be 2. So it would be 4 over 2. if I counted, say, from here to here, which looks a lot bigger, right? I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 8 over 4, if I think, well, those two things are different, I can actually simplify. 4 over 2 simplifies to 2, and 8 over 4 simplifies to 2 as well. So it does not matter which points I use. Then I look at which way the line's going. So it's going downward, which means it would be -2. And then I look at where it's crossing the y-axis. Look at where it's crossing the y-axis would be here, which if I look at the numbers, it says 4, or I can count up from 0. And if it's above 0, that means it's +4. So my y-intercept is +4. So then I put my equation together, which means y equals my slope, which is -2. X, and then my y-intercept is +4, so I put +4. And then we continue again. If I look at number 9, again, I want to see where I could put my own points, which means it has to go through the corners. Here could be 1, scan, scan, scan. And again, if you're not sure about there being one, don't use it. Just stick to what looks really good. This one has several as well. Again, like we talked about here, it does not matter which 2 dots I use. I can just choose any 2. The closer your dots are, the better off you'll be, just because it's less counting for you. But otherwise, like if I just choose these 2 dots, I pick up the highest, go straight down, go all the way across, and then I count how long the sides are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2. And again, slope is rise over run, which means my y direction, which is 6, over 2, which simplifies to 3. Look at which way the line's going. It's going upward, which makes it +3. And then where it's crossing the y-axis, that's where I look at the y-axis here. And where it's crossing the y-axis is this dot right here. And if I look at it, it says 3, but if I count up from 0, that's also +3. And then I put my equation together. So y equals my slope, which is 3x, and then my y-intercept, which would be +3. So I have to remember to put a plus. And then we just continue. So again, I look here. I'm going to find my dots. Again, just eyeball it. This one has several as well. And you really only need to find 2 dots. It doesn't matter which 2. So if you're not sure about any, just use 2 that you know for sure crosses at a corner. So then I pick a dot and I draw my L or my triangle, and then I count the sides. So this would be 1, 2, 3. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My slope is rise over run. So my rise is the side going up and down. That's 3 over my run, which is 6. And we can simplify it. 3 goes into both. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 6 twice. So it's 1/2. But note which way the line's going, and it's going downward, which makes it -1/2. My y-intercept, it's where it's crossing the y-axis here. And I notice where it's crossing, and all my work kind of covered it up. But it does say 2, or if I count from the origin and go up, it would be 2 times. So it's +2. So my slope intercept would be y equals -1/2 x, and a slope of +2. So I have to remember to put +2. And then we do it again. Again, I just want to find 2 dots. So I'm just going to focus on just finding 2 of them. And the closer you are, the better. So if you want to save yourself some time and simplifying, there are 2 dots that I could use. I count my sides, 1, 2, and 1. It's rise over run, so it's 2 over 1, which simplifies to 2. Notice which way the line's going, which is upward, which makes it positive. And then I look at where it's crossing the y-axis, and it's crossing the y-axis here. And it's okay if I didn't put a dot there, but it does look like it could be a dot. I just notice it crosses the y-axis there. This time it does say 1, but notice it's below 0, so that means it's actually -1. So my equation will be y equals 2x, and then since it's -1, I just put -1. Now, what I want to point out on this one is sometimes the graph will just be a snip of the 4 quadrants, like we saw on Unit 5, Part 1. It won't always be the entire graph. Sometimes they'll just focus in on this part right here, the first quadrant. Notice they did that here. Same idea though, okay? Which means I look for dots, which means here could be a dot, bam, 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 bam. Here could be a dot. here could be a dot, and here. Again, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw my L. So if I pick my highest dot, go straight down and across. I count my sides. What you always want to be mindful of is what they're counting by. Like for instance, this one's counting by 1. So this is 1, 2, 3. This one's also counting by 1. So nothing hard there. I just wanted to explain that part. My slope is rise over run. So remember, it's the side going up and down. 3 over 2. I cannot simplify 3 over 2 any further, so it's just 3 over 2, and it is going upward, so it's positive. Now, my y-axis is here on the left side, and notice where it's crossing or touching the y-axis would be 2, and above 0 means positive 2. So my equation would be y equals 3 over 2x, and since it's positive 2, I put plus 2. Let's do a couple more. This is where I just have to watch out for the counting. So if I find my dots, again, just choose the best ones. Like here's a good one, but I wouldn't want to choose this one because it looks like it could be a little off. So always go with the best one you can find, which truth be told, looks like it's only going to be here and the origin. Like I can't really justify making these coordinates because I don't know that they would work. So I'm actually just going to use the 60 and the 0. So I draw my line down and across and I count. Now this is where I have to be careful because it's not counting by ones. This one's counting by tens. You see that? 10, 20, 30. So each box is 10 points. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then the x-axis is counting by ones. So that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still rise over run, which means 60 over 5. And if I simplify that, 60 divided by 5, it'd be 12. And then I have to be careful with my y-axis because it's crossing at 0. And we talked about this a little bit. When it's y-intercept of 0, it's y equals 12x. And then my y-intercept 0, so I don't put anything after the x. Don't put plus 0, don't put minus 0. Let's see another one. So this one, I have a dot there. I could put a dot here, here, and here. So I do have several. If I choose these two and I draw my L and count my sides, I have to be mindful of what they're counting by. So notice here, they're going up by 25 every time. So this isn't 1, 2, this is 25, 50, because each box would be 25 points. Same thing going sideways. Notice what they're counting by. They're counting by 5s. So this isn't 1, 2, this is 5, 10. So it would be 10 right there. Then I do rise over run. So it would be 50 over 10, which when I divide or simplify, it would be 5. And notice which way the right arrow is going. It's going upward, so it's positive. And where it's crossing the y-axis, it's touching right here at 125. And since it's above 0, it would be positive 125. So my equation would be y equals 5x plus 125. So just a different, watch out for scales like that.